What's going on, guys? It's your boy Dipsey. Now, this one's gonna be a subscriber requested video. So I had someone ask me, how do you break a bad habit? And I love when I get questions like these, guys, because it shows, I can just tell from the question, it shows this man's trying to make an improvement in his life. He's trying to get to a better space. He sees a habit is holding him back from his full potential. So he's trying to figure out how to get rid of it. So I love when I get questions like these. I want to answer this for you, my brother. So listen, the biggest thing when it comes to breaking a bad habit, Einstein said this. He said, in order to overcome a bad habit, you've got to be in a superior mind state compared to when you first made that habit. So in other words, when we do these bad habits that aren't good for us, guys, we're in a certain mind state when we're doing this shit. So if I, for example, drink hella alcohol, I'm in a certain mind state before I even take a sip. So you gotta recognize when you're entering that toxic mind state that puts you in that position to indulge in that bad habit. So if I drink a ton of alcohol and I realize that I'm continuously in this mind state to where I feel like I have nothing to do, that's the trigger that's allowing me to indulge in this activity. So the solution in that case would be to find something to do. But you can only do that once you recognize I'm drinking when I get bored. I'm drinking when this happens. Figure out the trigger that puts you in that mind state. Because in order to overcome this bad habit, you've got to literally be a superior, in a superior state of being. You've got to be feeling like you don't need that habit. And a lot of people don't put themselves in a better position to not rely on that habit. Because habits are really, bad habits are usually coping mechanisms because we're trying to cope with the shittier sides of life. So recognize the mind state you're in is crucial. Number two, guys, I would say would be association. You've got to learn how to deeply associate this habit with something negative. So they've done experiments, guys, where they put rats in cages, mouses, whatever, and they put cheese there. So mouses, they want to eat, they're hungry, they're starving, but they know when they try to lift this cage up, they get shocked. So over time, they associated this pain with the food. And the food is something that's crucial. They needed to survive, they needed to eat. But guess what? Over time, they would rather starve than try to attempt to open that cage because they know that shock is coming. You need to deeply associate this bad habit with something negative. So if you drink, you gotta know my excessive drinking is gonna fuck up my liver. You've gotta deeply learn to associate what you're doing with something negative to not give yourself that opportunity to do it. So you can associate it with anything, but the thing is, it's gotta be a negative association. It's gotta be something negative that pushes you away from that habit, no matter how much you want to do it or no matter how much you feel like you need to do it. Number three is, guys, you have to be honest with yourself. You've got to be honest with yourself. A lot of people aren't honest with how bad some of these habits really could be for them. I mean, think about it, right? Usually when you have a habit that's bad for you, you kind of tell yourself, you know, one more time's not gonna hurt. It's not a big deal if I have one more blunt. It's not a big deal if I have one more cheeseburger. It's not a big deal, you know, if I just lay around in the house all day. I mean, I'll be super productive tomorrow. So you're constantly trying to convince yourself that this habit isn't as bad as it could be. But motherfucker, you gotta do the opposite. You've got to truly tell yourself, damn, yo, this habit really isn't good for me, man. Nah, this ain't just one more cheeseburger. Like, I've got high cholesterol. I can't have one more cheeseburger. So that's got to be the difference. You being honest with yourself at all times is going to shove this habit away, because you got to understand, man, your body, and this is my fourth point, your body produces a certain amount of dopamine when you got things you like that you do. So if you like watching TV all day, you sit in front of the TV, guess what, guys? Your body is producing a high amount of dopamine because it's rewarding you for doing this activity. But once you take the TV away, what happens? You just took your dopamine away. So you got this void of dopamine that's no longer there, and this is why people constantly revert back to these bad habits, because they're not replacing the initial habit with another habit. They're not doing it. You got to replace your habit in order to compensate for that dopamine you lost. So if you're sitting in front of the TV, you've got to, now you have that whole however many hours or minutes you were spending with that TV, you've got to find a way to replace that dopamine. Whether you could be going for a bike ride, figure out what you like to do, guys. You have to try different shit. When you get rid of a habit, the most important thing is that you try a bunch of different things. This is your perfect chance to experiment. People don't like to let different into their life. They don't like to let different things into their life. Whether it's food, whether it's activities, they feel like they have all the answers. They feel like they know what they're doing. They feel like, oh, you know, these 5 things, I love doing these and that's it. No, you've got to get out there and live life. So once you replace said habit with another, maybe few habits, congratulations, your body's now compensated for that dopamine you lost. So guys, it's all about not putting yourself in that vulnerable position. You got to be in a strong position at all times. And eventually, before you know it, this habit's going to disappear. And I guess the last thing I'll say is, you want to be honest in the sense of telling people about the habit you have that could be bad. If you've got a bad habit, you live with people, tell them about it. They'll hold you accountable for those days you get caught slipping. Because we all get caught slipping, including this guy right here. I'm not going to sit here on my high horse and act like, oh, man, anybody can get touched. I'm not untouchable. So you guys have to be held accountable by those around you, and that's going to allow you to stay on track even when you're off center, because they are going to remind you of what your mission is, of what you're trying to do. And it'll click in your head, damn, you're right, I can't. Yeah, I got to get this done. Because we all forget sometimes, guys. So whether it's your girlfriend, tell her. Whether it's your family members, tell them. Whether it's your friends in your circle, tell them. Because without knowing it, they could put you in a bad position to where you indulge in this habit. But maybe they wouldn't have done that if you told them. So just wanted to offer up this advice to you guys. It's your boy Dipsey. I hope I answered your question, my guy. I'm going to catch y'all later. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I got content on the way. Love y'all, man. Take it easy. Peace out.